Away from Liberia's capital, the pleasant good evening, and welcome to Focus News Summary, 15 minutes of major news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and our one world. Let's take a look at our headlines. President Wakai inaugurates ArcelorMittal $1.4 billion new concentrator plant in Tokode, Nima County today. Turkish delegation arrives in Monrovia to probe RIA aviation capacity. Government celebrates UN Security Council victory, says it will continue on championing Liberia's interests. And away from home, US President Donald Trump issues visa ban over 6 African nations, citing national security concern. These and many more are all packaged. We take a short break. When we come back, the news bulletin is up next. Okay, thank you for rejoining us on this presentation. President Joseph Boakai has inaugurated ArcelorMittal new 1.4 billion concentrator plant in Togede, Nima County today. This significant development is set to roll out over 60,000 jobs for local residents and bolster Liberia's mining sector. The plan represents a major investment in the country's economy, demonstrating confidence in Liberia's mineral resources and the potential for growth within the industry. Today's inauguration marked a pivotal movement for both ArcelorMittal and Liberia, as the new facility aims to enhance the efficiency of iron ore production in the region. With the creation of thousands of jobs, local communities are anticipated to benefit not only from the development but also from the economic stimulation that comes along with such large-scale project. The move highlights the government commitment to fostering investment and driving economic development in Liberia. A Turkish delegation has arrived in Liberia to investigate circumstances surrounding President Bouakar's private jet near crash situation at the Rabat International Airport. The move follows diplomatic engagement with Foreign Minister Sarah Beslu Yanti with the government of that country. Minister Sarah Beslu Yanti was seeking partnership in an effort to modernize the nation's Umid airport. The assessment, which runs from June 10 to the 13th, is aimed at identifying RIA operational capacity and urgent infrastructure needs. Leading the team of investigators, Mr. Alam Tikam said the delegation present demonstrates Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's commitment to draw heavily on Liberia aviation sector. President Joseph Boakai has signed Executive Order number 150 suspending import tariff on rice. The move is aimed at stabilizing the price of rice on the Liberian market, preventing further hike in the price of the nation's staple food. The executive order seeks to improve affordability and ensure access to food across every household in the country. According to an executive mansion release, President Bouakar's suspension underscores his commitment to food security, price stability, and protecting the purchasing power of ordinary Liberians. Meanwhile, the Liberian leader has mandated the Ministry of Commerce, the Liberia Revenue Authority, and other agencies to ensure full and timely enforcement of the new executive order across the Liberian market. An investigation conducted by the General Auditing Commission has uncovered troubling financial irregularities in the National Port Authority contract with Global Maritime Tracking System. Global Maritime Tracking System is a cargo handling company that manages cargo tracking note program. According to July 1, 2018 to October 31st, 2024, a report released by the institution disclosed the contract did not follow the required procedure, procurement procedures under the coalition of Democratic Change government. The report further revealed that the audit found no evidence that GTMS paid 2.15 million throughout its 5 years of operation. Meanwhile, an additional 900,000 was captured in 2024 under the current Unity Party administration. However, that investigation found no record of the 30 million initial capital investment, as the company reportedly failed to deliver on its obligation. These damage scandals raise potential questions about transparency and accountability at the nation's most powerful revenue generating institution. The National Insurance Company, in collaboration with the National Identification Registry and the Liberia Telecommunication Authority, has disclosed plans to provide health assurances for 5,000 vulnerable Liberians under the pilot project. The initiative is targeted towards monitoring universal medical coverage and ensuring ordinary Liberians get proper medication and relief from medical bills. At a MICAT press briefing, LTA chairperson Abdullah Kamara pledged the entity's support to the program and showed that the proper technology is provided. He also disclosed that LTA is expected to launch a Digital Expo 2025 in July to encourage young Liberians to showcase their technological skills in information technology. He added that during the launch of the competition of artificial intelligence, the partnering institution will produce prizes for the best three with AI knowledge. Also speaking, National Insurance Company Managing Director Abdullah Swari said the pilot project will take place in Montserrado County, Margibi, Bomi County. The acting director Swari further indicated that the initiative is not intended to undermine the Ministry of Health workings, but to help buttress its efforts. Liberia has been elected as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, marking a historic return for more than 6 decades. The vote, which took place at the United Nations headquarters in Monrovia, with member states selecting 5 countries for the council. Liberia was one of the 2 African nations endorsed by the African Union following extensive diplomatic outreach and high-level lobbying across multiple continents. This marks Liberia's first time on the council since 1961, signaling renewed international confidence in the country's leadership, peace-building efforts, and commitment to global security. President Joseph Boakai has hailed Liberia's election as a non-permanent member on the UN Security Council. President Boakai expressed deep gratitude to the United Nations member states for their confidence in Liberia and paid homage to Liberia's historic legacy from being Africa's first independent republic to a founding member of the United Nations. He also recognized the contributions of international outcomes, including Ambassador Angie Brooks Randolph and President William R. Tobot, whose leadership helped define Liberia's international identity. Highlighting Liberia's journey from civil conflict to democratic stability, President Boakai emphasized that the UN security seat validates the country's commitment to peace, reconciliation, and international cooperation. President Boakai pledged that Liberia will be a principled, dependable voice on the Council, advocating for the interests of Africa, the global south, and the marginalized communities around the world. If you are just joining in, remember you are listening to the program FOCAP News Summary on FOCAP 89.5. These are the quick look at our top story. A Turkish delegation has arrived to investigate circumstances surrounding President Boakai's private jet near crash situation at the Rabat International Airport. President Joseph Boakai inaugurates Asalameta 1.4 billion. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we bring you the continuation of our news bulletin. All right, thanks for rejoining us on this presentation. A cross sections of citizens has criticized the House of Representatives following the passage of a controversial resolution seeking to validate legislative action taken by the majority bloc. The resolution passed on Tuesday, June 3rd, includes the approval of the 2025 national budget, previously declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court in April due to procedural breaches. The House decision has drawn widespread condemnation, with some critics describing it as a strategy to shield Speaker Coon and other former members of the majority bloc from accountability. They allege that the move is being backed by the executive branch in an effort to protect the Speaker, alleged illegal actions which they argue undermines the rule of law. Meanwhile, citizens are calling on the Senate to reject the lower house legislative instrument, describing it as an affront to Liberian constitution. Executives of the opposition Congress of Democratic Change have credited former President George Weah for the elections of Liberia on the UN Security Council, shortly after Liberia's claimed victory at the UN election for a non-permanent seat. Executive of the CDC asserted that the landmark achievement was the result of groundwork laid during former President Weah's administration, not the outcome of any recent effort by the current government. Former Monrovia mayor and prominent CDC stalwart Jefferson Koji pointed out to President Weah's 2023 State of the Nation's address, where the then president detailed Liberia's foreign policy, roadmap, and ongoing efforts to strengthen the country's global partnership. Koji criticized the current administration for allegedly spending 3.8 million in just 2 months on diplomatic lobbying for a seat that, according to him, has already been secured. Joining CDC Koji CDC executive and Moxarado County former District 8 Representative Ascar Gray described the achievement as a testament to President Weah's patriotism and statesmanship. The Weah administration, which left office in early 2024, said they prioritize increased international engagement and statesmanship. The Weah's administration, which the supporters argue that this approach laid the foundation for Liberia's successful bid for the UN Security Council, not only the second time the country has held such position since 1961. In contrast, critics of the CDC suggest that the current administration's recent diplomatic blaze and substantial lobbying efforts were instrumental in clinching the final vote, particularly from undecided nations. However, Koji rejected those claims, calling them reversionists and desperate. He maintained that the truth is like the North Star doesn't move, it shines steadied and unshaken. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is yet to respond to the CDC statement. Plant International has donated to the health sector 2 Land Cruiser and 17 Yamaha motorbikes. The move is aimed at boosting response efforts to the Ministry of Health. In a release, Medical Officer Catherine Cooper described the donation as a significant boost to strengthening the ministry's operations and providing health service delivery. She vowed to use the donated item for the intended purpose while extending gratitude to Plant International and its partners for their commitment and support. Making the donation recently, Madam Marianne Ann Murray, Plant International Country Director, lauded Health Minister Dr. Louis Potot in coordinating TB and HIV projects. She added that the donation reflects Health Minister's leadership in handling important projects, something she said is contributing to the nation's health sector. The House of Representatives has passed a resolution aimed at validating the legislative actions taken by the majority bloc led by now Speaker Richard Nangbe, including the passage of the 2025 national budget. The move comes in the wake of a recent Supreme Court ruling which declared the actions of the majority bloc unconstitutional. Meanwhile, following the Supreme Court ruling, cross sections of Liberians condemned legislative action taken by Speaker Coon during the House impasse and called for his immediate prosecution. However, House resolution presented by Chief Clerk Marriott Sayan was approved in the wake of the public outcry. The resolution will now be forwarded to the Senate for concurrence. Environmental Protection Agency Executive Director Emmanuel Ure Jakpaolo has called for a stronger regional cooperation to safeguard West Africa's shared river system. Speaking at the Manu River Youth briefing in Senegal recently, Dr. Ure Jakpaolo underscored the urgent need for collaborative actions among the MRU member states. He cited real-world examples to illustrate the present nature of the challenges. The EPA boards recalled a 2024 incident in which the Kavala River shared by Liberia and Ivory Coast has contaminated by mining operation, yet the Liberian authorities were only became aware of the pollution a month later. The EPA executive director added that the illegal dredging continues across the Kavala River with limited enforcement due to jurisdictional and logistical constraints on both sides of the border. He noted that Liberia has made freshwater protection a central pillar of its nationally determined contribution under the Paris Agreement, but emphasized that national efforts alone are insufficient. The African Union Commission has expressed concern over the new U.S. travel restriction impacting several nations to date in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, June 5, 2025. While acknowledging America's right to enforce broader security, the Commission urges a balanced and evidence-based approach reflecting historic U.S.-Africa ties. Officials warn that the measures may harm educational, economic, and diplomatic relations carefully built over the years. The Commission calls for the consultation and transparent communication with affected countries to address underlying issues collaboratively. It affirms readiness to support dialogue and efforts to strengthen Africa-U.S. relations. And U.S. President Donald Trump signed a new executive order on Wednesday night banning citizens from 12 countries from entering the United States effective June 9, 2025. The travel ban applies to Afghanistan, Mali, Chad, Congo, Brazzaville, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, and Yemen, citing national security concern. President Trump said the decision followed an attack highlighting the risk of admitting foreigners without proper vetting, calling it a necessary move to protect Americans. A partial ban affects even seven countries, seven additional countries: Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela. These nations face restricted visa and tougher entry screening. The White House cited political instability and high visa overstay rates. Human rights groups and affected government have condemned the order and vowed legal and diplomatic actions. Now, to end this news, we recap the top stories. President Boyka dedicates Azula Meta 1.4 million project. A Turkish delegation has arrived to probe President Boyka's near airplane crash situations at the Rabat International Airport. These and many more. My name is K. Lyndon Togba. Thanks for listening to Focal News Summary. My name is K. Lyndon Togba. Thanks.